Hi everyone. This video I want to talk about the new movie Dunkirk. It came out on Friday and I saw it yesterday, so only day 2 of its official release. And so I want to talk about that here. I'm going to be spoiler free. I want to be spoiler free for this, so I'm going to be very careful with my words to make sure I don't give too much away. But I want to talk about the real life events and stuff that happened with Dunkirk and how this film was able to depict it. So yeah, so first off, I just want to say I was absolutely taken aback by Dunkirk. Being a Brit, Dunkirk is something that we are taught in school when we're young. It's something that everybody knows about. It's a story that brings about a spirit of helping each other out, which everyone kind of does in the UK, but it's a story that people internationally don't really know about, and it has been a very long time since a film was made about Dunkirk, a film in the cinema, should I say, because obviously documentaries get made and such for TV, but an actual film of Dunkirk. I think perhaps the last one was probably, I don't know. Oh no, I was going to say probably somewhere around the 70s. But there was a film around 2006, and I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. But by the by, it's been a while. You get like some sequences about Dunkirk, like say in Atonement or something. But this is full blown, just completely focused on the situation of what happened. And basically what happened was that the Germans had basically passing through France and had completely surrounded the British, Canadian and French army onto this beach. There were 400,000 of them in total onto the beach of Dunkirk, and the issue was that they were being attacked on all sides. So they were being attacked from land towards the beach, they were being attacked by the sea because there were boats and torpedoes and all that lot, and they were being attacked by the air, by planes. There was no cover, there was nothing around that they could use to help themselves. They had to just wait to see if they were able to get on a boat, because England was 26 miles away, Dover was the nearest point, and they could actually see it in the horizon, but they weren't able to get to it. And each time a boat came, they would get on board, and then it would be torpedoed, it'd be destroyed, and they'd have to, if they survived through it, swim back to the beach and wait for the next one. It was a really horrific situation, and especially for the British Army. They had to get their men home alive, because if they didn't, there would be no army left, really. So that meant that Germany would easily be able to cross the channel and invade England, and then we couldn't allow that to happen. So when they couldn't reach home, as the trailer says, home came to them in the form of people travelling from Dover and along the coast from England, travelled on their boats, civilians, no weapons, nothing, travelled across the channel and picked up the soldiers and brought them home. And this is what Dunkirk film is about. So that's the overall gist of what happened in the war, in this situation. It happened in May of 1940, only 16 days after Winston Churchill had been made Prime Minister. So that was huge, and the operation to get them out was called Operation Dynamo. There are so many amazing actors in this film. It is unreal. There's so many young British male actors as well, who has been on various programs and dramas that throughout British TV, but aren't big names, but they're in that. And it was like, I was like, oh, that's one of the guys from Casual Vacancy. Oh, that's one of the guys from War and Peace. That kind of thing. It was like, oh, hello. That's the guy from Scylla. Kind of thing. It was really nice seeing this really good young British talent being put forward in this film, and although they're not big names, they are playing characters who we follow throughout the journey, so it was really lovely to see them in it. So yay, well done for casting. For the overall film, I was so taken aback by it. I mean, 2.5 hours passed like that. It was unbelievable. And the thing about this film is that it's not people have commented when the certification came out. They were like, Chris Nolan's done a World War II film and it's a 12A. How? That's, you can't do a war film and have it that low of a certificate, 15 minimum. No, you don't. And this is what he proves in that the whole film is not particularly following one person throughout. You've got many different stories going on and you're following many different people, but it's not about, the blood, the guts, the gore. Yes, you see people die, but you see either in the very first sequence, there you see people get shot in the street as they're running away, but they just fall. You don't see any blood. You see people drown, but it's kind of drowning sort of in the darkness, as it were. Or you see, as in the trailer, a man walking out to sea to kill himself, and that's it. You don't see anything else. Or you do have a couple of instances of people like being blown up and such on the beach, but it's in like the very background of a shot, and it's there to go, oh my god, that poor man. But there's no blood, there's no guts, there's none of that, because it's about the situation and the psychological effects of it, and the fear and the tension, and you really feel it as you're watching it. This bombardment of plane after bomb after torpedo after, and when you get to that point in the film where, as it's in the trailer, where these guys are sat on a beach, these young guys, and they're just watching this man just take off his gear and walk into the sea to drown himself, you go, yeah, I get it. I totally get it, why you're doing that. And you see, like, on the beach, and it says it was in real life, that they literally queued up, or lined up if you're American, on the beach, and just waited. They just stood there and they waited, and when a plane went over, you dropped to the ground, you covered your head with your hands and your arms, waited for the bomb to drop. If you were okay, you stood up, you got back into the queue. That was how it was. And there was this big long jetty called the Mole, which is where they waited for the boats to come to pick them up. And sometimes the actual real life soldiers, they had to wait in water, stand in water that was up to their shoulders, and just wait there for. It took a week in order for this whole thing to play out. In the end, and it's a bit of our history that we in the UK we know about, we're taught about. It's a really massive part of our military history, because if this rescue mission didn't happen, as I said, Germany would have easily crossed the channel, invaded England, and we would be most likely speaking German now. It brought about a spirit in the UK of helping each other. Just grit your teeth and just do it. Do what you have to do to help your fellow man, and do what you have to do to survive. It's extraordinary, and it brought about a speech Winston Churchill gave, which is said at the end of the film, which is one of the greatest military speeches in British history. It's extraordinary. The actual depiction, it's so interesting that this is such a big blockbuster film and it has very little dialogue in it, but it's that thing of, as I said, it's about getting into the psychological effect of this and the bombardment of it all, and a lot of it is in silence because it's the looks that they give each other. It's the fear that you feel, your heart pounding, and everything, and you really do feel it in the cinema. It's so well put together. I'm I just want to stand up and applaud him for making this film. I really want it to be nominated for Oscars and BAFTAs. I really hope it does. It's a real contender, I think, for it. Now, the annoying thing is, though, here's the downside of it. With the trailer, and I've watched the 2 trailers a number of times. For international markets, it doesn't mention that it's based on a true story, which, it's just one of those things. But there have been so many trailer reactions that I've seen where people think that this is fiction. They don't know that it's a true story, and that's not. I'm not criticizing that at all, because the thing is that, as I said, it's our history. It's not well-known history in like America, or various other countries around the world. So it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's like, but you don't know it. That's the way it is. I really hope that people realise that this is a true story when they go to see it. At least they will at the end, because at the end it gives you stats on how many people were saved, men were saved, and all that lot, and everything. That it is that thing. Also, is a worry that internationally this won't do well, because people won't know, or go, oh, that's about British history, I'm not interested in that, and so won't go to see it. So if you are in a country outside the UK, and this is showing, I really want to say, go see it. You won't be disappointed, even if it's a case of, you go, oh, it's British history, I'm not interested. Just as a film, it's extraordinary. I totally agree. I think I would probably say, with critics who have said that this has the potential to be a classic. It's kind of what it was Saving Private Ryan in, what, that was 96, I think, or around that time. What was Saving Private Ryan for that generation, Dunkirk is for this generation, or has the potential to be. I totally agree 100% with that. The soundtrack by Hans Zimmer, which I bought yesterday, as soon as I got out of the cinema, I went straight to HMV, which is the music and DVD and Blu-ray shop in the UK, and I bought Dunkirk soundtrack. I love Hans Zimmer. I think Hans is an extraordinary composer. The stuff that he comes up with is just amazing. Especially, I love like Walking Dead and all that lot. But this is, for me, is his best work. Just as the film Dunkirk, for me, is Christopher Nolan's best work. That this score is special. This is something else. Like how you have like John Williams. Like there's certain scores of his, like Jaws and Indiana Jones and E.T. and all that lot, that are just like, as soon as you hear his name or say his name, it just pops in. They just pop into your head because you can't help it. It's just the way it is. Now, Hans Zimmer, for me, it was The Walking Dead, but now Dunkirk is the first thing that pops into my head. It's based on a clock ticking, which builds up tension, but also it has such a great link to the film, because you've got 3 storylines that run through this. You've got one that's the attack for the British troops from air, which covers 2 pilots. One of them is Tom Hardy, and the other guy, I've completely forgot his name. I'm very apologetic to him, but he was in War and Peace recently, the BBC adaptation of War and Peace recently, and that covers a span of 1 hour. Then you have a boat that's coming from Dover across the channel to Dunkirk, which is being controlled by Mark Rylance's character, which covers 1 day. And then you've got the men on the beach, which is, so you've got from air, from sea was Mark Rylance, and then from land, which covers the men on the beach waiting to be rescued, the 400,000 men. And that covers 1 week, because the entire mission was a week. It constantly cuts back and forth between all 3. You only get the reference to 1 day, 1 week, and 1 hour at the very beginning of their stories, at the beginning of the film. They don't get referred to again throughout, and quite honestly, I had no problem keeping up. I knew exactly which timeline we were in with each shot. It's kind of like Inception, as Chris did so amazingly, where he's able to flip back and forth and you have no trouble with keeping up as to where you are, which time zone you're in, because he's brilliant. And he did exactly the same thing with Dunkirk. It was extraordinary. The cinematography was amazing. The sound, the noise of the bullets and all that lot, and how they just go completely out of the blue. I mean, sometimes obviously when a German plane's coming over, they hear it coming and they're able to duck, and you're like, and you feel, oh my god, and it's getting louder and louder and louder, and then suddenly they duck and everything. Other times bullets come out the blue, torpedoes come out the blue. It really, I jumped multiple times throughout this film. It was just fantastic. I will go see this film again and again and again and again. I think this is a first day release Blu-ray, probably pre-order it. I would watch this film over and over again. It really made me feel proud to be British. And the thing is, especially with Dunkirk, as I said, it's a bit of history that not a lot of people outside of the UK know about, which is really sad. And every Remembrance Day, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be who we are today. And I always think of, whenever the Remembrance Day parade happens and we do the 2-minute silence, I tend to think of the people men at Dunkirk and what they did for us, and the people who went to get them, and as well as all the other people who have fought for our country and made the ultimate sacrifice and everything. We need to make sure that they are remembered, just as with all military men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice to make sure that we're free. And I really hope that people go see this and understand Dunkirk and everything a bit better. It was a situation when the men got home. Many of them were like psychologically scarred for life for this. Many couldn't talk about it ever. And I saw a documentary once about Dunkirk, and there was this, I can't remember when this footage was filmed, and he was really, really old man at that point, and the interviewer mentioned Dunkirk and he instantly shut off, and he had to turn his head away, and you could see his lip was starting to go, and he was getting upset, and his wife was next to him, and she just took his hand and squeezed it and went, we don't talk about it. He can't talk about it. And as a very old man, he still, couldn't go there, and I don't blame him or anything, but you can understand that this was so raw, this was so big a deal, and I really hope that especially international markets go see this film, learn about this bit of history, and take in how it changed us. It changed the world. I really hope you guys go and see this wonderful, wonderful film. As I showed in my last video, my announcement video, the Dunkirk book that the film was based on by Joshua Levine has been reprinted with the cover from the poster. I bought this today for only £3. It was in Tesco for £3. I was like, my God, I can't walk past that. So I'll be putting that into my non-fiction jar of randomness, and I'm really looking forward to reading that. But yeah, he captured it beautifully. Hans Zimmer captured that tension just perfectly with that score. The way that it's presented, the way that he's looking at war, which is a non-standard, blood, guts, all that lot kind of thing. This is about people banding together, hope, bringing you home, and being the things you cling on to, psychological effect of war. This truly could be a classic World War II film that's ever been put on screen, and I'm so happy I got to see it. And just to give you a perspective of how well it's been received in the UK, it opened on Friday. I couldn't go on Friday because I had other stuff that was going on, so I went yesterday instead, which was only the second day of the opening. I went at a 10:20 a.m. showing. Now, usually when I go to cinema at like 10:20 or whatever in the morning, There's hardly anyone in, like maybe 6 or 7, depending on the film. It was nearly sold out, and that was one of the medium to large size screens at 10:20 on a Saturday morning. And until a boy turned up, he was about 15, I was the youngest person there. And it was like, all right then. That's I love that. I love the fact that so many people went to see it, and that's one screening in one cinema in the UK. It just, I can just tell that for me to go back again, I'm probably gonna have to like pre-book my ticket like the week before or something. It's probably going to be sold out for the rest of this weekend or something. But yeah, my dad really wants to go see it, and I told him about it today, and he's now planning to go see it. In the middle of the week or something. But yeah, if you are able to see this film, no matter where you are, no matter what knowledge you have of Dunkirk, please go see it. I think it's an important film. It's a story that needs to be told, and what a fabulous way to tell it. So thank you, Christopher Nolan, for making this film. Hans Zimmer for writing an amazing score. Everyone who was involved with the film, range, cast, producers, wardrobe, all that lot, who made this extraordinary piece and brought history to life in a way that was just perfect. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, spoiler free, and I managed to do it completely spoiler free. Yay! I did fear that I might slip up a bit, but no, I didn't mention anything about what happens to certain characters and everything. So yay! I managed to get through without spoiling. Yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you've seen it, I'd love to know what you think of it. You can leave me a comment in the comments below, or give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Entirely up to you. I'll let you decide. And yeah, I will see you when I'm next back with a new video. All right, then, guys. Bye.